Good evening and welcome to the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters team's YouTube series called Backwoods Investigations. I am your host, Zach Sterrick, the team leader of the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters team. And tonight, with my special guest from Chalmette, Louisiana, we dive into the deep end of the Louisiana bayous to study the folklore, the monsters, and the paranormal. Tonight, my special guest is Mr. Bono Russell, host of Mojo Encounters on YouTube. How you doing tonight, Bono?
I'm doing pretty good, Zach. How are you?
Oh, we're doing all right. We're a little bogged down with the rain today, but we're getting along.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. It's been raining for 3 days here nonstop.
All right, so let's get right to it. Tell us about yourself, Bono.
Well, I have my own show, Mojo Encounter. I am a Bigfoot researcher. I just don't do it every day. I research in a local area, 2 local areas around my dad's property in Covington, Louisiana. And I've been doing that on and off for 2 years now. A lot more this past year. I've been finding more and more things, and actually had a face-to-face encounter out there. And prior to that, I had an encounter in Indiana in 2005 after Hurricane Katrina. But that's what got me, that's what got me really thinking and getting back into the Bigfoot scene. I've always been into it since I was a little kid, since the Patty film and all that, and in search of, and I was always into all that stuff. They used to play all that stuff on PBS. We don't have like 4 or 5 channels, got that cable back then.
Mm-hmm.
And every weekend I was just like, I didn't care with the cartoons. I just wanted to see the in search of and the Bigfoot thing and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I'm pretty much, a local researcher.
You said you had an encounter in Indiana. Tell us about that encounter. How, details. How did it go? What was the etc. The time of day, terrain, weather.
Well, it was in, I guess, October was like pretty much early fall.
Mm-hmm.
And it was around, I remember it was around my birthday. My birthday was on the 12th. And we was living with my girlfriend's dad in Brownsburg, Indiana. Pat actually lives in Waytown, Indiana, which is actually close to Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
It's close to Covington, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? That's in Illinois, right? Covington?
I believe so, yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. It's close around there, but not too far from Wabash College.
Yeah.
Crawfordsville, right in that little 10-mile stretch there. You live on a farm, and there's cornfields and soybean fields all around.
Mm-hmm.
Terrain was it's partially thick woods and partially farmland, just windy hills and back country. It's the country, man. And we go every single weekend. It's the whole weekend there. And this one weekend in October, I want to say it was October the 14th, just after my birthday. I'm not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to go back and look on the calendar. It was somewhere in the middle of October, and whatever day it was near they were fixing to harvest all of the crops and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we go there one Friday evening to spend the weekend, and we get there, and our grandparents had a meal for us, and we ate and everything. And the grandpa, call him Paps, he bought me a 12-pack of Miller High Life, and he's just a real nice guy like that. He wanted to drink a beer with me. He always drinks 1 beer with his supper, and he goes to bed. So I go outside and on the side porch and sit down and start. We all ate and everything, and I was smoking a cigarette. And he came out there and brought me a cold beer. And but just before he came out, right around the time the sun was starting to go down, and I started hearing these coyotes go off in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
In front of me was this big soybean field. I'm sitting on the side porch on the right side of the house, and there's a huge soybean field, and where that ends, this big patch of forest, woods, and you can hear that's where the coyotes were coming from, the coyote howls, yips, and I actually never heard that in person. I've always heard it on TV and stuff, I've never heard it in person, and I'm like, oh wow, coyotes, cool. So when Pops came out to bring me the deer, and I'm like, you hear them coyotes? Know what coyotes are? He says, yeah, that's coyotes. And he goes, here you go, give me a beer. And just then I heard a single, sounded like what was a single coyote. And it was way closer, and it wasn't in those woods. It was close. It was like in the soybean field.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like the coyote, but it didn't. Like it was, I'm like, Paps, did you hear that one? He goes, oh, that was probably the alpha male. I'm like, oh, okay. But it didn't quite sound like the rest of them. And then, so when he went back inside, it was time for him to go to bed. He goes to bed at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
He went to bed, and I started to smell this odor, this nasty odor. But I put it out. I didn't really think about that it was anything, because all around that whole area in Indiana, there's pig farms, there's slaughterhouses, there's funky smells coming from everywhere. The pig farms will gag you, man.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
I mean, just when we were driving out there, that last 50-mile stretch, it was nothing but pig farms all around on that interstate. And we had the windows open in the truck and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the most horrible smell. I mean, so I was kind of used to smelling the funky smells around there. So when I smelled this odor, I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's probably a dead raccoon or a deer or something in the woods, and that's an awesome roadkill maybe, I didn't really pay attention to it, and it stunk, and it hung around. It didn't go away, I wasn't even thinking of what that might have been, or, I had so much on my mind, Zach. We had lost everything in the storm. I didn't know where half my friends and family were, My mom and daddy was in Arkansas. The whole family was scattered everywhere. I was so upset, and we had just found out that one of our best friends, my best friend, drowned. She drowned in the storm. And I'm in my head and all trying to deal with this stuff. And I'm not thinking, okay, this is weird and I need to think about this, or, I wouldn't think of anything but my beer and my cigarette. I wanted another beer, man. I was trying to self-medicate over there. So, and then the sun's pretty much going down. Pretty much, it was dark by this time, and I'm still smelling that smell. Maybe not as strong as the beginning, but I smelled it. So I let out this sigh, like, and then I hear this freaking growl. It was so loud. It was a growl / I want to say a roar. It was a short burst, and then it was I can't even imitate. And when it hit me, the sound hit me, it shook my flesh and my bones, and it even hurt my head. It made my head hurt. It made my teeth rattle. It made me sick feeling, I'm like, okay, I don't know what is going on here, but I'm going to get up and go inside. So I get up, and for some reason I couldn't turn, I guess because I was scared. I wasn't that scared. I probably would have been more scared if I didn't have all this stuff going on in my head, all the things weighing down my emotions. But I stood straight up, and I did not turn my head. I turned my body, and this thing was breathing in and out. And the noise was coming from this little patch of trees in Pap's yard, about 20, 25 feet away to my right, further out in the yard. where the noises was coming from. This breathing sounded like it was so heavy. It was the breathing like out was just as deep and bellow and as the breathing in, and it was like I would describe it as a walrus, like a walrus.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more like it was more like a bison, buffalo doing a rut. You know how they breathe that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounded like to me. So I turned to my right without turning my head. I turned my whole body, and I grabbed onto the screen door, I'm fixing to go inside, but I couldn't see the eye shine. I could see its eye shine in the corner of my eye. Way up high in the trees, probably about 9 feet. And those trees were about 13 feet, maybe 14 feet high. So, I mean, something was either in the tree way up there or standing that tall, and I just don't know. And so I turned to go in, and I just kind of, block it out of my mind. What I thought, the first thing I thought was because I spoke to her brother a couple of nights before, and he was telling me about feral pets,
Mm-hmm.
like exotic pets, like black panthers, and they're roaming the woods around there. People that got rid of their, exotic pets, or they didn't want to get caught by the police or the animal control people, they just set them free in the woods. He says, there's black panthers everywhere around it. So, I mean, that's what I was thinking, that it was one of those panthers maybe up in a tree or something. Well, why would it stink so bad,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm thinking, that's what it was. It must have been rolling in some rotten shit or something, man. It was nasty smelling. So I went to bed, I went to lay down, and I really couldn't sleep. It's just something was just weird. And in the bedroom that I slept in, there was a window that was open, the curtains were open, but the glass was shut. And around there, it's completely dark. There's no lights around there, none. I mean, it's one of them places in the country you just look up and see this gorgeous stars and the Milky Way band and stuff. It's just beautiful blue and purple, and there's no lights. I mean, it was completely dark.
No moonlight.
I had this feeling that something was looking at me through that window in the dark, and it freaked me out, and I couldn't sleep. I felt like I was being watched through that window, but I couldn't see what was watching me. And it was just a weird feeling. So I was, starting to doze off. Every time I started to doze off, I would hear this thumping outside. Thump, 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 And it woke me up. It was like, when you're in between sleep and awake.
Mm-hmm.
And that fine line right there, how it would wake up. It happened about 3-4 times. And I could even feel the tremors, like impact tremors, almost like under the bed. Whatever was out there stomping around was very, very big and very, very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now. But I was so tired and so exhausted that I just crashed. I just completely crashed out. The next morning, my clothes smelled like that odor I was telling you about.
Yeah.
It was in my clothes. I mean, I took my clothes off and I put my, sleep shorts on and all that, but I wanted to wash my clothes. I went to go to the laundry, I picked up my clothes and they still smelled like that odor. So I'm walking through the living room and I could hear all the machines outside, the combines were rolling, man. They were taking down the corn in the front of the house, taking down the soybean on the side of the house, that big field. And I completely forgot about the whole ordeal. I ran up to the shower, got dressed, put some clean clothes on, and I ran out to help my camera phone. And before we had the smartphone, there was a little flip phone with the camera. I was taking pictures of the combines cutting down the corn, and I even, was bummed the ride with one of the combine dudes and jumped in. And to see was riding a tractor with him. It was awesome. I had a full ass, but I didn't think to look for Bigfoot tracks or anything like that. I wasn't that into it yet. I mean, I just wasn't. It didn't hit me what I experienced until I started paying attention to the podcast. Because everything that happened to me is pretty much, prelude to a lot of the other Bigfoot encounters. I said, well, this had to be the same thing. And then after that, though, I've never, we went, spent the night and weekends over there by her grandparents, the whole time we were there, many times before we came back to New Orleans. And I've never had another experience like that. It's like they were gone. There was nothing happening at night, or, I never had the same experiences again.
Mm-hmm.
So now my theory is that they probably knew when the harvest was going to take place, and they were picking all the corn. It's only they didn't gather before, the farmers got out there and took it down. And that's a theory I have. I think that, now that I've been educated on the subject, I think that they come at the harvest, and they come, these things you never know. They could have came from Ohio. They could have came from Illinois. They could have came, and just to gather corn through the, farmers' fields and stuff like that. And maybe they're going to put that somewhere and stock it up, and they'll have their little vegetables in that for the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, that was my encounter in Indiana.
Yeah, what I've found with my research that I've done, I've been researching Bigfoot and hunting them and whenever I say hunt, I don't mean hunt like you do during deer season. I'm hunting for the evidence and the facts. But I find that they're more active during the harvest season. Like right now here in Illinois, we got cornfields about 10 foot high, and that corn's going to be ready to cut in about a month and a half, if not less. And they're really active, especially during the heat of the harvest, getting ready to establish territories and everything to last them through the winter. And they're some of them go rogue and stuff like that and start killing cattle. I talked to one of my friends talked to an Amish man just 2 days ago, and he said that this one Bigfoot over in the next county has been killing some of his goats and taking them off, because he goes out every day and he counts his goats every single day, and every day for the last 2 weeks he's gone out there. Every few days there's 2 of them missing.
What is it with the Amish people and the Native Americans, man? They love to pick on them guys. I guess it's because they live out in the country, and it's maybe a condition where their territories overlap.
Yeah, I mean, they'll go and they keep to themselves and everything. They really rarely even go into town. They live off the land. And
right.
But I think that it was a curious one. Was the smell, was that like a musky smell, like a skunk smell?
It was that, Zach, and it also smelled like urine.
Mm-hmm.
It also smelled like something.
Ammonia smell?
It reminded me of like something rotten out of the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Really bad. Like, or, really, like down here, we do a lot of seafood and stuff. The worst of it kind of smelled like rotten crawfish. Like, the real.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even explain it. It was just one big funky smell that I really never smelled before. But it stood in my nose. When you go to a horse stable, and it's those horses, the horse shit and everything all that mixed together, and their smell, it kind of sticks with you for a while.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that. It stuck with me for a while. And it was all kind of smells. It partially smelled like wild animal, urine, rotting flesh, and just ass.
Yeah. That's one way to put it. But that's a pretty interesting encounter that you've had, Bono. I appreciate you for sharing it. On to the next topic for the show. You're in Louisiana. Down there in Louisiana, you have all the Cajuns down there. They have the folklore and their superstitions. And especially down where you live, you're close to the Honey Island Swamp, I believe.
Yeah, I don't go there.
Yeah. What can you tell me about from what you've heard about the Honey Island Swamp Monster? aside from what is known about it from the Harlan Ford film, what can you tell me that you've heard that no one really knows?
Well, maybe nobody really knows that it also harbors other strange creatures. Now we know the Holy Island Swamp is actually a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But there's also strange beings that's been caught on, like, game cameras and stuff like that. They can't explain. Like the one you see, if you Google Honey Island Swamp Monster, for some reason that picture of the game camera shot of the looks like an alien. It's bald headed, it doesn't have any hair. It's white. It's got glowing eyes, creepy looking. I don't know if it's real. I mean, but I do know that other things are being seen besides a hairy bipedal creature.
Yeah.
There's all kind of lore, there's that, a lot of people say it's just aliens, and then there's Bigfoot, and then there's, I've heard there's some sort of gill monster, the lizard guy, I don't know. Half of them you can't really pay attention to, it's just kind of superstitious. But there's other, the Southern Louisiana cryptids. I don't even call them cryptids because most people think that the Rougarou is a dog man or some kind of Bigfoot. It's not. The Rougarou is a spell. It's a lycanthrope. It's a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
Just from what I understand, the Rougarou is a voodoo spell, and it turns a person into a man, into a wolf. Lycanthrope, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And legend goes that if you encounter one and you tell someone, then you become one. Silly, but that's the way that one goes. But I believe it is some sort of, it could be some sort of shapeshifter or something like that. I believe in that. I believe that stuff's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's all demonic stuff, I don't really get into that. Zach, I don't go to the Honey Island Swamp because I think that there's something that I've been there before, and it just didn't sit right with me. The area.
You just got an uneasy feeling right as soon as you got close to it, huh?
Yeah, it was a bad feeling. Like I didn't need to be there. I needed to get away from there. So I do not research the Honey Island Swamp. There's a little bit more than Bigfoot going on, and I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know.
Kind of the thing that is better left untouched, kind of thing.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of like going to look for the Men in Black, man. You're gonna get in trouble.
You get shot.
Yeah, while taking one of them things, them creatures, one of them stealth home with you or something like that.
Yeah.
One of them ghosts or whatever you call them.
Poltergeist.
Yeah, whatever they call them.
Yeah. You heard of I read about this one the other day whenever I was doing research for this episode about the Grunch. Can you tell me what you know about the Grunch? It's supposed to be like the swamp version of the Chupacabra kind of thing.
Actually, the Grunch is something that people claim they've seen even 20 minutes from here in Metairie and Lakeview is like the metropolitan area of New Orleans, like kind of like the northeastern part. We're like the southeastern metropolitan area in Chalmette. The ninth ward, the city is only 3 miles from where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
We're just outside the city. And so is Lakeview and Metairie. Right? And in Metairie, that's where they claim, and in the city too, they claim to see it. That is another spell. Well, it's an apparition, or I want to say it's another shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Can't call him Skinwalker. That's Navajo. Okay.
Yeah.
The shapeshifter is very similar, but the difference is the shapeshifter is they can not only turn into animals, they can turn into other people.
but they always revert back to their original form.
Right. But I think that's what the grudge is. It's something demonic. But I've heard a lot of people talk about it, what they've seen. And I tend to believe it's more than some kind of hairy creature. If it wants to be a hairy creature, it'll be a hairy creature. You know, if it wants to look like the Thin Man, it's going to look like the Thin Man.
Mm-hmm.
With teeth or something. But you know, I was on a paranormal show just a few weeks ago, and the guy's girlfriend that runs the show and all that stuff, she is a demonologist. And she's right. She said that, demons can take any form they want. But you always know it's a demon because they never look exactly like what they take on. You know, either have pointy teeth or pointy ears or weird colored eyes, or, the skin's never colored right, or, if they turn into an animal, you could see that part of the evil human in their face.
Mm-hmm.
Small gal, man, she knows what she's talking about. Forget her name, don't forget me. But anyway, yeah, I think that is some sort of demonic being, spell, or, like I said, shapeshifter.
So the Rougarou and the Grudge all fall in supernatural category, so that kind of knocks out part of the voodoo topic.
I think that the Rougarou is definitely voodoo. Definitely voodoo. That's something I stay way away from. I hate to say it, but for that matter, I hate the city of New Orleans, and I was born there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just too much going on, man. I've seen some things in that city that make your skin crawl, but I won't discuss that on another show.
Okay. That's just fine, Bono. I don't want to pressure you into talking anything you don't want to talk about, buddy.
Mm-hmm. But, there's Bigfoot. We have Bigfoot. I've seen that sucker. I've seen that booger right around my dad's property. See, my dad lives, his side yard is part of a corridor of pine forest that just spreads out deeper and deeper, wider and wider, and eventually goes way up north into Bogalusa, Louisiana, and all those places. And the deeper you go, the more evidence you find and the more activity you get. Found that out a couple of times. So I was pretty good ways away from Dad's house one time, and I came out of a thicket. I had my machete with me. This stuff is so thick you gotta chop your way through.
Oh yeah.
So I come through this pine thicket into the sort of a clearing, and in the clearing, I guess the clearing, that the tree away from me was about 50 feet. And it was smack in the middle of this clearing. The clearing was about 100 feet, or maybe more. And through the thicket across the way, I didn't smell anything. I didn't even hear anything until this thing came out of the thicket. I heard this very light rush, of foliage.
Mm-hmm.
But hardly a thing. And it looked like that it was coming so fast, it looked like a giant cannonball.
Really?
And it was glossy and hairy. And it moved so fast. I mean, it was like the Tasmanian devil came through there. And it got behind this tree. Whatever came through that thicket got behind this single tree I'm telling you about. That is only 5.5 to 6 inches around, a pine tree. Don't ask me how this thing hit behind it and concealed itself. Because it was huge. And when it stuck, wherever it was, stuck its head out to the side, it had long, black, glossy, shiny hair. He looked at me. This thing was huge. I was looking up, like 8 foot, like you're looking, like you stand in a room, you look at the corner of the ceiling, that's 8 foot. That's what I was looking at. That's how high this thing, big it was.
And how close were you?
I was about 50 feet away from it.
Holy smokes.
I just came out of this clearing. That's pretty close. I just came out of this clearing. And I'm just estimating because this tree was in the middle of the whole clearing from where I was standing over to the other end. Across from me was about 100 feet, but in the middle there was this tree, and that's where the creature hid. I don't know how it hit its huge body behind this tree like this, and then its head poked out to its left, which would be my right, and it had this hair, man, was long, and it looked like this dude looked like I'm telling you, he looked like Tommy Lee from Motley Crue.
Oh, wow.
I mean, his hair, man, not his face. I mean, that's what his hair looked like to me, because his hair was long. And he had this big, giant shoulder popped out with it, Where was the rest of him? I couldn't see it. I mean, what did they do? Suck all the air out of their bodies? I mean, it was amazing. And he had, like, gray skin, like dull gray, like, it looked like plumber's putty, but if you spray some enamel on it, because it was shiny.
Mm-hmm.
Shiny skin, glossy hair. It had, like, amber reddish eyes, and it wasn't happy with me, It didn't look happy. It was just really badass looking. I don't know. Its eyebrows, its brow was down, kind of over its eyes and on the top. It was looking at me like, I don't want you here.
Yeah.
It kind of gave you two barks, a bark/grunt noise. And it kind of went like this. And then this thing took off. Right in front of me, went straight back into the thicket ahead of me, and it looked just like a black slit. I mean, you think you'd be able to see its shoulder swinging or its butt, or the bottom of its feet while it's running. No, this thing disappeared like nothing. I mean, it was just a slit, and I barely heard a noise. Like I said, it was just like, once again, just like some flickering of foliage, just very light. But it disappeared so fast. It was away from me so fast and gone. It was just under maybe 2 seconds. It was completely gone.
Sounds to me like you had an encounter with the paranormal side of Bigfoot, Bono.
I don't know how the hell is this thing. How did it trick my mind to think, how can you hide behind if you're that big, how can you hide behind a 5.5 inch, I want to say 6 inch diameter pine tree?
Like something out of a cartoon, huh?
Exactly. That's what freaked me out.
Wow.
So those are only 2 encounters I've had. Everything else, I had some hunks of asphalt or cement, thrown at me and stuff like that while I was researching around there. I heard some monkey type screams. Those monkey shrills. Yeah. Sounds like a monkey in the zoo. I've heard that around there too. I have tracks. I have a picture of a track down that dirt road I always go, leading to the woods and everything.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Mm-hmm. And I also have prints of so it looks like cat prints. And it's just probably the prints are probably big around as my palm.
Yeah.
My palm. My hands are not little. So I'm talking about 4 inches long and about 4 inches wide. These big, like cat-like paw prints. And I think those are some feral cats too running around there. The big cats. There's a lot of rich people in College, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no telling. And I know a guy that actually has a lion in his backyard. So, and I don't think that's in Folsom. I mean, Covington. That's actually in Folsom, Louisiana, which ain't far from there. So yeah, a lot of people with money around here. Well, I think I'm gonna buy me a Black Panther. Oh shit, it's tearing me up in my kids and my yard, so I can get rid of them. Then that's what happens.
That's a logical reason, though.
And they set them loose in the woods, and I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah, there's been evidence around here several times I've read about where there was here in Illinois, of all places, in Crab Orchard Lake, which is only about 35, 40 miles from my house. Last year, this time, there was an alligator reported in Crab Orchard Lake, and that is a man-made lake, and they said that there was like 4 or 5 reports of the alligator. And of course, with as cold as it gets during the wintertime, they didn't expect it to live, so I doubt it's still there. But I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
That could have been a pet somebody had.
Yeah, that's what they think it was.
Survive the cold. They can't survive those cold snaps up there. No way. If it was an alligator, it didn't last long, probably. Poor fella.
Yeah, and for the last month up here, you talk about stuff whenever you was over in Indiana where you had your encounter where the thing was coming up and like knocking on the house. We've been having that kind of ordeal happening here for the last month. We had one coming up on the house and knocking on the wall, and it come back just this last Wednesday, knocking, and I guess it was looking for my brother, because my little brother has like a little code that he'll knock back at him, kind of like Morse code. And it come back Wednesday night, and on Wednesday nights he's in the next county with his dad for visitation, and that thing knocked the head on the wall outside at the head where the head of his bed is for an hour and a half, Mom said. And then whenever it didn't get a hold of him, it come back to the back side of the house on the east side and just smacked the back of the house, and it rattled the windows.
And they do that. They smack the houses. But what happened to me, it wasn't smacking the house. It was stomping on the other side. It was stomping on the ground. And, I mean, I don't know. It might have been hitting the side of the house, but it sounded like stomping on the ground to me.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, and I've discussed this with my girlfriend and everything. She don't really believe in it. She said, you know, if that's all this is true, I can tell you something, buddy. You snore so freaking loud. She said, I bet you were snoring and the thing thought you were growling.
Possibly.
I said, you know what? You might be right.
But yeah, it got to the point where Mom's like, this has got to stop. So I took matters in my own hands, and I called Connie the next day, and I talked to her and Fred told me to go out in my backyard next to the woods and give them the what for. So I cussed them out a little bit, and I told them this is my land and my territory, stay out. And I did a Native American smudging ceremony around my house with sage, and I set up deer heads outside my house, which is an old Shawnee trick to tell them to stay away. This is my place.
Did it work?
Yeah, we haven't had any activity recently.
Oh, good. Well, that's good then.
And then, I was out about 2 weeks ago, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep, so I went for a walk, and I heard one on this nature preserve kind of ordeal on my next door neighbor's place. He doesn't let no one hunt that ground. And I was out in a valley, and I had my headlamp on, which is 200 lumens, and it's a Ozark Trail headlamp. And I shined down in this valley, and I saw what I looked to be 3 deer, but they had red eye shine. And I'm like, that's weird for 3 deer. And of course, this is the same place where these deer had always bed down. Well, I got down there, and I was looking, and I got within 25 yards, and the big male stood up.
Yeah.
And he was about 8 foot tall, and I was so close to him I could tell he had a scar on his cheek.
And when was this, Zach?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get you back on my show soon and tell me some more about this stuff, man.
Yeah. But.
You know.
I mean, I saw him. I went and I saw him, and he stood up and he was looking at me, and I said, "I see you, big boy." And he huffed at me, and the 2 females that was with him got up, and they went back up the mountain.
Yeah, Fred will tell you, they don't like when you say, "I see you."
Yeah,
they don't like when you blow they cover. They get pissed.
That's what I find with Fred and Connie. Well, Bono, I appreciate you for coming on the show, buddy. We're running out of time, buddy. We're actually in overtime right now.
Oh, shoot, man. I hope this fits.
Oh, it'll work. I'll get it to work eventually.
Okay.
Well, I thank you for being on the show, Bono. I'll have to get you back in sometime.
Well, sure. I'll be glad to come back on. Thank you for having me, Zach.
All right, you take care, buddy, and you try and stay afloat down there. Don't be afraid to get the John boat out.
I'll bring out the P-rolls. All right, buddy.
All right, you take care, bud. Bye. And that does it for episode 2 of the Backwoods Investigations. Be sure to join us next week. See you then. Be sure to join us next week for my guest from Missouri, Mr. Steve Brooks, will be in to share his encounter with the Sabine thing. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Peace out, Cryptos. Stay squatchy, everybody.